Hello and welcome to quiz class. Today we have 100 questions on literature. So let's see who those bookworms are today. Let's begin with question number 1. Which book precedes Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey? Song of Achilles, the Iliad, or the Aeneid? The Iliad. Who wrote a series of novels about Tarzan, a man raised by apes in Central Africa? Edgar Rice Burroughs, Edgar Allan Poe, or Edgar Albert Guest? Edgar Rice Burroughs. What war is often featured in the works of American author Tim O'Brien? World War II, the American Civil War, or the Vietnam War? The Vietnam War. Which American poet is known for taking the road less traveled by? Walt Whitman, Robert Frost, or Henry Wadsworth Longfellow? Robert Frost. What pseudonym did Sylvia Plath use when she published The Bell Jar in 1963? Victoria Lucas, Carolyn Keene, or Mrs. Doubtfire? Victoria Lucas. Robert Burns is considered the national poet of what country? Canada, Australia, or Scotland? Scotland. Which Shakespearean sonnet starts with the line, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day"? Sonnet 8, Sonnet 28, or Sonnet 18? Sonnet 18. Which George Orwell novel is an allegory for the Russian Revolution? Animal Farm, 1984, or Homage to Catalonia? Animal Farm. What name was the main source of conflict in the comedic 1895 play by Oscar Wilde? Ernest, Jack, or Algernon? Ernest. What kind of animal was stuck on a boat with Pi Patel in The Life of Pi in 2001? A lion, a tiger, or a bear? A tiger. What classic fantasy series starts with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? The Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, or The Wheel of Time? The Chronicles of Narnia. Which American female poet often wrote about death and is also known as the New England mystic? Maya Angelou, Anne Bradstreet, or Emily Dickinson? Emily Dickinson. Which author is known for humorous coming-of-age stories like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret? Kate DiCamillo, J.K. Rowling, or Judy Blume? Judy Blume. What slang language did Alex and his Droog speak in A Clockwork Orange? Newspeak, Russian, or Nadsat? Nadsat. What supermarket inspired the name of a dog that brings a community together in a novel by Kate DiCamillo? Winn-Dixie, Ralph's, or Morrison's? Winn-Dixie. What kind of place does Lenny wish to own in Of Mice and Men? An aquarium with sea turtles, a mansion with peacocks, or a farm with lots of rabbits? A farm with lots of rabbits. Which Jean Rice novel is a prequel to Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre? Good Morning Midnight, Wide Sargasso Sea, or Quartet? Wide Sargasso Sea. According to a 1924 short story by Richard Connell, what animal is the most dangerous game? Boar, man, or tiger? Man. Which Shakespeare play inspired the title of Aldous Huxley's novel Brave New World? The Tempest, Othello, or A Midsummer Night's Dream? The Tempest. Which George Orwell novel starts with the following line? It was a bright day in April and the clocks were striking 13. Animal Farm, 1984, or Homage to Catalonia? 1984. What kind of animals are the Houhins in Gulliver's Travels? Talking dolphins, intelligent horses, or green mice? Intelligent horses. Who is the narrator and protagonist of The Great Gatsby? Daisy Buchanan, Jay Gatsby, or Nick Carraway? Nick Carraway. Which sporting event is a pivotal moment for Rudy in The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak? 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, the Summer Olympics in Berlin 1936, or 1896 Summer Olympics in Athens? 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin. What real-world conflict sparked the tragic events in an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce? The Crimean War, the American Civil War, or World War I? The American Civil War. Which of the following characters appears in 8 children's novels by Beverly Cleary? Ramona Quimby, Nancy Drew, or Nikki Maxwell? Ramona Quimby. What book was the first novel in the Time Quintet series by Madeleine L'Engle? Dune, The Eye of the World, or A Wrinkle in Time? A Wrinkle in Time. According to Ovid's Metamorphoses, which ancient hunter turned into a flower after obsessing over his own reflection? Narcissus, Orion, or Actaeon? Narcissus. Question 28. What literary movement is associated with Jean Cocteau's novel Les Enfants Terribles? Existentialism, avant-garde, or beat? Avant-garde. Which of the following is not a story in the Canterbury Tales? The Tale of Melleby, The Parson's Tale, or The Queen's Tale? The Queen's Tale. Who is revealed as Pearl's father at the end of the Scarlet Letter? Roger Chillingworth, Governor Bellingham, or Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale? Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale. What is the last name of the central family in To Kill a Mockingbird? Sparrow, Eagle, or Finch? Finch. Which romantic poet wrote Darkness and Prometheus? Lord Byron, Percy Bysshe Shelley, or John Keats? Lord Byron. What is the primary setting of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas? A Nightmare in a Child's Mind, a boarding school, or a concentration camp? A concentration camp. What kind of text appears at the beginning of every chapter of Like Water for Chocolate? A recipe, an encyclopedia entry, or a letter? A recipe. Who are the two main characters in The Cask of Amontillado, by Edgar Allan Poe? Roderick and Madeline Usher, Montresor and Fortunato, or Dupin and Le Bon? Montresor and Fortunato. Which Shakespeare play features a duel between Edgar and Edmund, the Earl of Gloucester's sons? Richard III, King Lear, or Henry IV? King Lear. What word for a trusted advisor is also name of the man who educated Telemachus in the Odyssey? Mentor, tutor, or counselor? Mentor. What happens to Fonny at the end of If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin? He is reunited with his pregnant wife, he is stuck in jail indefinitely, or he starts a new life in Mexico? He is stuck in jail indefinitely. Who is the protagonist and narrator of The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton? Johnny Cade, Dallas Winston, or Pony Boy Curtis? Pony Boy Curtis. Which commandment does John Proctor leave out when he recites the 10 Commandments in the Crucible? Do not steal, do not kill, or do not commit adultery? Do not commit adultery. Who wrote the 1996 novel Silence, which features Jesuit priests in 17th century Japan? Shishuko Endo, Shotaro Yasuoka, or Hayao Miyazaki? Shusaku Endo. According to Paradise Lost, what is Pandemonium? The capital city of hell, eternal torture, or where lost souls are held? The capital city of hell. In what language did Henryk Sienkiewicz write his historical novel Quo Vadis? Latin, Czech, or Polish? Polish. Which Hermann Hesse novel features Harry Haller struggling to balance the man and lupine creature in his inner psyche? Siddhartha, Steppenwolf, or Journey to the East? Steppenwolf. Which author introduced the CIA analyst Jack Ryan in his 1984 novel, The Hunt for Red October? Tom Clancy, James Patterson, or Neil Gaiman? Tom Clancy. What is the home address of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson? 221B Baker Street, 4 Privet Drive, or 1313 Mockingbird Lane? That would be Baker Street. How many times does Janie get married in Their Eyes Were Watching God? 0, 3, or 7? 3. According to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, what is the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything? Love, 42, or 5 loaves of bread? 42. What mountain is the primary setting in John Krakauer's nonfiction book Into Thin Air? Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Fuji, or Mount Everest? Mount Everest. How does Dorian Gray stay young and beautiful throughout the novel The Picture of Dorian Gray? He has a strict diet, his self-portrait ages for him, or he can manipulate time. His self-portrait ages for him. What color are Dorothy's shoes in the 1900 novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? Silver, gold, or ruby red? Silver. What Maya Angelou poem shares part of its title with her 1969 autobiography? Phenomenal Woman, Still I Rise, or Caged Bird? Caged Bird. What 1977 novel features an imaginary kingdom built by 5th graders Jess Aarons and Leslie Burke? The Dragons of Eden, Children of the Corn, or Bridge to Terabithia? Bridge to Terabithia. Which ancient Greek playwright is known for his Theban plays Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone? Aristophanes, Sophocles, or Euripides? Sophocles. What bird serves as a symbol of rebellion in the Hunger Games series? Dove, falcon, or mockingjay? Mockingjay. Who is Charlie Marlowe looking for in the first part of Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad? Kurtz, James, or Michaels? Kurtz. Question 57. Who wrote about Stuart Little, a young mouse who lives with a human family in New York City? C.S. Lewis, E.B. White, or J.R.R. Tolkien? E.B. White. What is the name of the Harvard professor who solves historical mysteries in Angels and Demons and The Da Vinci Code? Jack Reacher, Robert Langdon, or Henry Jones? Robert Langdon. Which U.S. state is the location of most of Kate Chopin's works, including Desiree's Baby and her novel The Awakening? Maine, California, or Louisiana? Louisiana. Which Langston Hughes poem inspired the title of Lorraine Hansberry's most famous play? Harlem, Mother to Son, or I Too? Harlem. What does Aragon name his dragon in the first book of the Inheritance Cycle series? Rhaegal, Sapphira, or Viseron? Sapphira. How many of the four March sisters are married at the end of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott? 0, 2, or 3? 3. Who was the oldest Boatwright sister in The Secret Life of Bees? May, August, or June? August. According to the 1910 novel by Gaston Leroux, what is the Phantom of the Opera's first name? Maurice, Eric, or Christophe? Eric. Why does the crocodile in Peter Pan make a perpetual ticking noise? Its claws click together, its teeth chatter when the water is cold, or it swallowed a clock. It swallowed a clock. Which character in Great Expectations lives in a dilapidated mansion and only wears her old wedding dress? Miss Havisham, Mrs. Joe Gregory, or Miss Skiffins? Miss Havisham. What was the name of the young man who disappeared and sparked John Krakauer's investigation into the wild? Christopher McCandless, William O'Brien, or Linus Van Pelt? Christopher McCandless. What fair Italian city is the setting of Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet? Venice, Vicenza, or Verona? Verona. Which magical woman turns Odysseus' crew into pigs in the Odyssey? Calypso, Athena, or Circe? Circe. What did Frankenstein refuse to make for his monster because he was afraid of future repercussions? A child, a wife, or a home? A wife. Why was the protagonist locked away in a solitary room in the yellow wallpaper? She was a convicted felon, she was bedridden due to injuries, or she had postpartum depression. She had postpartum depression. In The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, what two races of people exist in the year 802-701 AD? Eloi and Morlock, Vulcan and Borg, or Gungan and Ithorian? Eloi and Morlock. What feature of the old man's face haunts the protagonist in The Telltale Heart? One pale blue eye, a scar on his nose, or cleft chin? One pale blue eye. Which conference ended with the Allied powers agreeing to split Germany into 4 occupation zones in 1945? The Yalta Conference, Potsdam Conference, or Bretton Woods Conference? The Potsdam Conference. Why didn't Seeley respond to Nettie's letters for 30 years in the color purple? Seeley's husband had hidden Nettie's letters, Seeley was ashamed of their last fight, or Seeley couldn't read. Seeley's husband had hidden Nettie's letters. Which two characters from Hamlet got their own spin-off written by Tom Stoppard in 1966? Polonius and Gertrude, Horatio and Laertes, or Rosencrantz and Guildenstern? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. What kind of creature does Gregor become in Kafka's Metamorphosis? A small dragon, a giant insect, or a wildcat? A giant insect. What bureaucratic rule has trapped Yosarin in indefinite combat duty in a Joseph Heller novel? Y2K, Catch 22, or Order 66? Catch 22. Which science fiction series was written by Michael Crichton? Dune, Jurassic Park, or Edgar's Saga? Jurassic Park. Question 80. How many people conspired to commit murder in Murder on the Orient Express? 12, 6, or 3? What street is the central location in a poetic coming-of-age story by Sandra Cisneros? Mango Street, Baker Road, or Independence Avenue? Mango Street. Who is the narrator and main character of Lolita? Dolores Hayes, Humbert, or Claire Quilty? Humbert. Which young woman is forced to choose between following strict tradition and marrying the man she loves in a room with a view? Lucy Honeychurch, Charlotte Bartlett, or Eleanor Lavish? Lucy Honeychurch. Which of the following fairy tales was not written by the Brothers Grimm? The Little Mermaid, Cinderella, or Little Red Riding Hood? The Little Mermaid. Which Shakespeare play inspired the title of Ray Bradbury's novel, Something Wicked This Way Comes? Othello, Hamlet, or Macbeth? Macbeth. Which Bennet sister marries Mr. Wickham in Pride and Prejudice? Elizabeth, Lydia, or Jane? Lydia. Which author from the American South is known for short stories like Good Country People and The Enduring Chill? Kate Chopin, Harper Lee, or Flannery O'Connor? Flannery O'Connor. What game is central to the plot of The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis? Checkers, backgammon, or chess? Chess. What job does Jacob Jankowski do for the circus in Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen? Acrobat, ringmaster, or veterinarian? Veterinarian. What is the first novel that features the great detective Hercule Poirot? Death on the Nile, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, or Murder on the Orient Express? The Mysterious Affair at Styles. What British island does the Ramsay family visit for summer vacation in To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf? Isle of Skye, Isle of Wight, or Isle of Mull? Isle of Skye. Who is the neurotic, scent-obsessed protagonist of Perfume by Patrick Suskind? Jean Rousseau, Jean-Baptiste Grenouille, or Jean-Paul Montreal? Jean-Baptiste Grenouille. According to I, Robot by Isaac Asimov, what is the first law of robotics? A robot must act in its own interest. A robot may not injure a human being, or a robot may not build new robots. A robot may not injure a human being. Which American poet wrote the 2008 poetry book Red Bird? Nikki Giovanni, Joy Harjo, or Mary Oliver? Mary Oliver. What activity is featured in multiple works by Ernest Hemingway, including The Sun Also Rises and Death in the Afternoon? Bullfighting, cricket, or marathon? Bullfighting. Who is Heathcliff's only child in Wuthering Heights? Catherine, Hareton, or Linton? Linton. When did Harper Lee publish Go Set a Watchman, the sequel to Kill a Mockingbird? 1975, 1995, or 2015? 2015. Who does Newland Archer end up marrying in Edith Wharton's 1920 novel The Age of Innocence? Ellen Olenska, May Welland, or Medora Manson? May Welland. Who was Tim Ripley supposed to retrieve from Italy in The Talented Mr. Ripley? Dickie Greenleaf, Freddie Miles, or Marge Sherwood? Dickie Greenleaf. What name is the main source of conflict between Jack Worthing and Algernon Moncrief in an Oscar Wilde play? James, Ernest, or Maximilian? Ernest. And our bonus question is, what novel is the first of the Darkonon romances? Let us know the answer in the comments. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you in our next quiz. Bye-bye now.